Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We come to another session of Musa alayhi salatu salam and Harun alayhi salam. And Allah Azza wa Jal has sent Musa alayhi salam with clear proofs to Harun. Clear proofs to Fir'aun, and he went with Harun alayhi salatu salam, and they both went and delivered the message to Fir'aun. Now the appeal of Musa alayhi salam while this whole conversation was going on, because the conversation was quite tense, as we know it from last week. Musa alayhi salatu salam said, Ya Fir'aun, inni rasulun min Rabbil Alameen. He said, Oh Fir'aun, I am the messenger from the Lord of the worlds. This is ayah number 104, surah number 7. Haqiqun ala alla aqula ala Allahi illa al-haq. Everything that I'm saying to you is the absolute truth, and I wouldn't say anything about Allah except the truth. قَدْ جِئْتُكُمْ بِبَيِّنَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. I've come to you with a clear sign. فَأَرْسِلْ مَعِيَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل. So send with me the Banu Israel, or the slaves that Fir'aun has. So now what happens is Allah Azza wa Jal allows Musa alayhi salam to show his miracles in front of them. And when he shows his miracles, that's when he's just mesmerized them. He's just put them into an absolute amazement of how can this man do this. And I told you last week that he turns around and he says that it's sihr. So he does that, and his council also say that it's got to be sihr. So his council are these chieftains. They are these people who are in charge of making the decisions in Egypt. There's quite a few of them, and we don't know exactly their number, but there's quite a few of them that are with him making decisions on this. And what happens is, his chieftains are the ones that feed information to him, and he feeds information to his chieftains, his council, the same thing I'm talking about. And when they do that, they support one another. He cannot really make a decision on his own entirely on a big matter unless his council or the chieftains are behind him. And his chieftains are the ones that egg him on, or they'll give him some kind of they'll tell him to do something, and they'll say, are you going to let this happen? Are you going to let that happen? Or this is our opinion about this. And all of this feeds into what happens on the surface. Now, why I'm saying all of this is, and you will see they're mentioned in various parts of the Quran. One of them is surah number 7, ayah number 109. And what Allah Azza wa Jalla has done is that He's mentioned these mala. Mala is a group of people that are powerful around a certain person who's in charge, or they're just a group of people who make the decision. Now, I've already explained the power of these people under Surah Nuh. So those of you who want to have a deep analysis of that, you can go back to and listen to Surah Nuh in the series, and you can get an idea of this. So I'm not going to go into that. But what I want to say to you is that there are current systems today in the world that operate on the same way. So what happens is that we know the name of Fir'aun, and we know the face of Fir'aun, and we know the orders that Fir'aun gave, and they're all in the Quran. But what you must understand is that this man is not acting alone. This man has got a whole council of people, he's got a whole group of chieftains behind him, and these are the people that are influencing him, and somewhat he's influencing them. But there's quite a few of them who have got this power. Currently, there are certain systems on the earth, they operate in the same manner. And you have to accept that this is the case today. So sometimes you might know the face of a certain government. You might see that one face. And that one face might be giving us the laws and saying that we've changed, we passed another bill, we've changed another bill or law and so on. And people normally, they vent their hate or their anger at such an individual. They might sometimes praise such an individual. But what it is, and what they should not forget is that they are not making the decisions on their own. We know today there are many many people in the government and so on, and many various governments that all together will make a certain decision. But this mala or this group of people that that hold a great position, we don't even know who they are from the Quran. All we know is that they existed. Now, these people, the influence that they have sometimes on a person, like today currently, like without giving you any names, I want you to understand that there are people, organizations, there are corporations that have a huge influence on the government and what the government actually does. When I say government, I mean governments across the world. There are corporations, there are people who are bringing the country a lot of money and so on, that are influential people that will tell or that will steer their opinions in a certain direction that the government will want to listen, because if the government doesn't listen to them, then there might be consequences about the next election, or there might be consequences about them staying in power. So this is what Allah Azza wa Jal tries to make us think, that don't just think it's just one man, one party, one band, whatever. There could be a greater influence behind whatever is happening. Now, the chieftains, they say, according to ayah number 109, surah number 7, they say, إِنَّ هَذَا لَسَاحِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. So Allah says, قَالَ الْمَلَأُ مِنْ قَوْمِ فِرْعَوْنَ إِنَّ هَذَا لَسَاحِرٌ عَلِيمٌ. So Fir'aun on the one hand said, this seems to be a man who's got great magic, he's learned great magic. And the chieftains agree, they say, he seems to be a big one. He seems to have learnt it very well. The way he just put his stick on the ground and it became a serpent, the way he put his hand underneath his armpit and took it out and it became light, he seems to be a great magician, a very skillful one. Now, what they follow on from there is politics, and we know, I told you earlier, we'll be talking about politics under this, but also they put a spin on it. They put a spin on the whole situation, and we've been seeing this rhetoric going along, that Musa alayhi salam says something, and they spin, and Fir'aun spins it on his head, and then Musa alayhi salam spins that on his head, and then he carries on. So what do they say? They say, ayah number 110, surah number 7, they say, يُرِيدُ أَن يُخْرِجَكُم مِّنْ أَرْضِكُمْ فَمَاذَا تَأْمُرُونَ. They say, this man, he wants to, by means of his magic, by means of his sorcery, by means of what he's able to do, he has no other intention but he wants to take you out of your land. فَمَاذَا تَأْمُرُونَ. What do you guys think we should do? What's your opinions? Now look how they spun onto it. They know that the whole thing rests on the matter that their own power is about to go. But instead of saying this man wants to, is challenging us directly, they say to the nation, they say, hey, all of you, the whole nation, this man is a threat to you. And to add on to this, what they say, and this is in the Quran, in Surah Taha, Surah number 20, Fir'aun himself, they have a discussion about this, what to do, and eventually Fir'aun says, whether it was the very scene where Musa alayhi salam dropped his stick in front of them, whether it's immediately after that or later on, we don't know exactly, but nonetheless, it could be immediately after that. Fir'aun says, ayah number 57, surah 20, he says, أَجِئْتَنَا لِتُخْرِجَنَا مِنْ أَرْضِنَا بِسِحْرِكَ يَا مُوسَى. Oh Musa, you've actually come to take us out of our own place, our own country of Egypt, this great civilization. You want to banish us from this civilization because of your skill of throwing this magic and magical display in front of us. فَلَنَأْتِيَنَّكَ بِسِحْرٍ مِثْلِهِ. He said, you want to do that? You think we haven't got power to show you a like for like? You think we can't bring you magic and magicians and show a whole scene and challenge you on this level? For certain we shall bring magic similar to the magic that you brought. فَجَعَلْ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكَ مَوْعِدًا. Fir'aun said, go ahead. Give an appointment, give a date, set an appointment. لَا نُخْلِفُهُ نَحْنُ وَلَا أَنْتَ مَكَانًا سُوًى. He said, neither us nor you will break our promise to come that day and to have a challenge, a national challenge on this matter, where you can bring all the magic that you've got, and we will bring all the magic that we've got, and we'll show you who's in power. We'll show you who's got more. So then Musa alayhi salam, he gets some information from Allah Azza wa Jal of what to choose. Now, what he chooses, Musa alayhi salam, is another threat to Fir'aun, a bigger threat to Fir'aun. Fir'aun just said to him, look, come on, let's have a big display of you versus us. Yep. This is a big challenge. And Fir'aun, to be in all honesty, he could have said, look, Musa, come all the way secretly in my little chamber here. Let's close the doors. It's me and my chieftains here. You come and all the magicians come, and we'll do this little display. Okay, we'll have this little challenge. Musa alayhi salam just didn't put it like that. He said, you want a challenge? This is ayah number 59, surah 20. He said, مَوْعِدُكُمْ يَوْمُ الزِّينَةِ وَأَنْ يُحْشَرَ النَّاسُ ضُحًى. He said, if you're going to challenge me, then you've got to challenge me on the biggest day of the year of this country. Now, all these civilizations, they have festivals, and they have days where they have carnivals, or times when they come out and they dress and so on, and they start to show people how they can dress and how they can have a good party, right? So what Musa alayhi salam is saying here, he said clearly, if you want to challenge me, you challenge me on the day of the festival, national festival day. You're going to challenge me on that day. And I'm going to have no other day except that day, when everyone's out and everyone wants to come out and have fun. On that day I will have the challenge, and it's going to be no other place except in the open. Musa is throwing this. I want in the open. And I want no other time except I want it early in the morning, when the sun has risen about quarter of the way. Now this is the time of duha. There's a special reason why he's choosing this time. If he chooses too early in the morning, people might not wake up and get there. Okay, not everybody will be there. Second is, if he waits till midday, then it's going to get too hot, and people will not want to stay outside. If he gets after midday, when the heat has gone down by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, then it's like almost, it could be Asr time in 2-3 hours time, and people might want to go home before the dark settles in. But if he says early in the morning, when it's about 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, when it's duha, this is the time when the morning sun is at its peak. Not the peak of the midday heat, no, it's at the peak of the morning, which is about 10 o'clock. It's a nice, warm, sunny feeling at that time. And it's not too much on the people to stay outside. At the same time, it's the best time to gather everyone who hasn't got to worry of the rest of the day, how they're going to get back and so on. It's early in the morning. It's not too early for them, it's not too late for them. And it's going to be the open, and it's going to be on their festival day, which is going to really bring up a big show. This is the day when a lot of people in Misr will be able to see the truth. Now, Fir'aun took the challenge on. This man's not backing down. This man should have really said, Musa, come on, we don't want to put that big of a challenge. Okay, he should have said that. Usually, when somebody is scared and they're bluffing, and you give them a big, challenge, usually they'll make an excuse. I remember once there was someone who was challenging me to a debate or whatever on a certain issue. This was years back. I don't do debates or whatever, but somebody was challenging me. Somebody from a knowledgeable background was challenging me. I said, okay. I said, if you're going to do it, then you've got to, let's have cameras there and let's record it. Let's record it. I said, I'll debate you, but I said, let's record it so that you have a copy and I have a copy of what we actually said. And the guy just said to me, he said, no, forget it. We don't want no cameras there. We don't. So you usually, if you throw a big challenge, they'll just sort of back off, and that's the end of it. But this man is not backing off. He's saying, you want to go ahead? Okay. Fir'aun said, fine. I'm going to start gathering people together, and I want to come. Now, Musa alayhi salatu salam was now Subhanallah Azim, he was worried. And the Quran does talk about Musa alayhi salam having something called a khifa, which is an internal state of, a kind of a worry, though he didn't display it on the outside. And don't forget, he already said to Allah Azza wa Jalla, oh Allah, I fear that this man might just kill me. Now Musa alayhi salam is worried in the sense that what is this man going to actually do when he brings, and who is he going to bring? You think about it. I mean, I know we've heard the story so many times, but you've got to go through the mind of Musa alayhi salam and the events of the time, that who is he going to bring now? Of course, Musa alayhi salam he can just put one stick down so far, and that, just becomes a big serpent, and then it touches again and it comes back to a normal stick. Now Musa alayhi salam knows that Misr has got some serious magicians, and he doesn't know who Fir'aun is going to bring to the table or to this show and to challenge Musa alayhi salam. So what happens here is, let's go to a different part. There's two parts that are going to cover this whole scenario that Fir'aun is going to set up. So his council says to him, they said, okay, fine, take the challenge up. Fir'aun says, yeah, we take the challenge up. And then he says, they all say, arjih, give him some time in between. Let him go and practice. Let him practice his, his tricks. Wa akhahu, give his brother some time. Wa ba'ath fil madaini hashirin. And we're going to, in the meantime, we're going to send men out to the whole of Misr, and we're going to give them a big deal to come and to challenge Musa. So this big deal was that they're going to send out people first and to find the magicians. And then what they would do is that they would see who is the biggest magician and of the best magician. Like basically they would go around, they would make certain magicians challenge each other, and then when they've seen one magician challenges another magician, challenges another magician, and they see who's the best, they will hold so many competitions, and out of the best magicians, they're going to get the best out of the whole of Misr and bring them to challenge Musa alayhi salam. يَأْتُوكَ بِكُلِّ سَحَّارٍ عَلِيمٍ. They said, the council is talking to Fir'aun, we'll bring the best what's in the land. And this is in Surah Shu'ara, Surah number 26, around ayah number 25, 26. Now in Surah 113, what happens in the end is that the day arrives, the people arrive, and they make whatever square it was, they make a massive circle in a square. And Musa alayhi salam has to go in there with Harun alayhi salam, and he has to now, Fir'aun sitting there, his council is sitting there, the people of the city are there, and he's got the main, whoever he wants, especially the people who he's going to matter to, because he wants to wipe out Musa alayhi salam once and for all. And Musa alayhi salam is thinking, these guys are really skillful. And they don't just do what Musa alayhi salam did. Musa alayhi salam, he puts his stick down, it becomes a big serpent, and that's it. And Musa alayhi salam holds it, and then it comes back to normal again. That's one he's seen. A second one was on Mount Tur. Musa alayhi salam threw his staff down, and it seemed to him that this small serpent, that time it wasn't a big serpent, it was a small serpent that's just moving. And when Musa alayhi salam came together with these people in one place, there was a genuine internal fear of what would actually happen. But Allah Azza wa Jal sent a wahi to Musa alayhi salam to say, La takhaf, innaka antal a'la. Don't fear. Or Musa, don't fear. You will be the triumphant. You will come on top. You are better than them. So he had that assurance from Allah Azza wa Jal. So what happens here? Ayah number 113, Surah number 7. Allah says, وَجَاءَ السَّحَرَةُ فِرْعَوْنَ. The magicians came to Fir'aun and they said, is it true that you're giving this bargain? Is it true that you have sent for us and that your actual bargain is this? إِنَّ لَنَا لَأَجْرًا إِن كُنَّا نَحْنُ الْغَالِبِينَ. That you're seriously going to give us a big sum of wealth if we win and if we beat Musa? He said, Naam. I said, of course. And he added on. This is ayah number 114. He said, إِنَّكُمْ لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. He said, you just beat Musa and you will see I will make you my close ones. You will work for me after this. You will be my magicians. Wow. Now Musa and Fir'aun's going to extend his power over people because he's going to personalize these magicians. Now, in ayah number, because I have to turn to different parts to give the actual scenario. So this is Surah Shu'ara, and Allah Azza wa Jalla says in ayah number 38, this is Surah 26, Allah says, فَجُمِعَ السَّحَرَةُ لِمِيقَاتِ يَوْمٍ مَعْلُومٍ. His magicians were brought on a day that was devised and was agreed by them. وَقِيلَ لِلنَّاسِ هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ. It was said by Fir'aun or his men, are you all seated? Have you all gathered here? Like some were standing, some were seated and so on. لَعَلَّنَا نَتَّبِعُ السَّحَرَةَ إِن كَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ. Now subhanAllah, look what they say before even the match starts. They said, this is in Surah 26, Ayah 40. They said, perhaps and surely we will be following what the magicians will say if the magicians become the winners. So already you can see the way their minds are going. They're not like standing there and saying, okay, if Musa wins, we'll believe in Musa's Allah and we'll release Banu Israel. But if the magicians win, then we follow Fir'aun and we follow the magicians, because the magicians also believe that Fir'aun is one of their lords, and the magicians are also, people who look up to the chieftains and the council of this country. So instead of saying that we'll give them a fair chance, no, they're saying to people, have you all gathered? Yeah, let's just wait. When the magicians win, we'll give them support. Now the magicians come, ayah number 41, Surah 26. They say to Fir'aun, are you going to give us this reward? And he says, yes, I will give you this reward. Now, there's an exchange that goes on between, now Musa is there right in the middle, and on the other side there are a few magicians, perhaps 4 of the best magicians that are on the other side, and Musa alone on one side. So now, they say, who's going to throw first? Who's going to throw first? So ayah number 115, Surah 7, they say, Ya Musa, imma an tulqiya, wa imma an nakuna nahnu al-mulqin. They said, Musa, you choose. Do you want to go first? Or should we go first and drop what we're going to drop? Now nobody knows what they're going to see on this day. Okay? I know we know what happened already because you've been over this story a few times. I want you to wipe that out for a bit now. Nobody knows, because the thrill of this and to have the yaqeen and so on, you have to think of it as a day when the hearts of these 2 prophets and the hearts of their followers or who are following them is all, gasping to see what is it that is going to be displayed on this day. So what are you going to throw? Who's going to throw? Is it going to be you or is it going to be us? Now, I just want to bring about another part of the Quran that brings another side to this. So what happens here, this is in the 11th juz of the Quran. And we've got 137 places of the Quran where Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions Fir'aun, He mentions Musa alayhi salam and his story. So what happens here is Allah Azza wa Jal says that I sent Musa and I sent Harun to Fir'aun, and I sent them to his mala, to Fir'aun's chieftains. This is ayah number 75, surah number 10. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ عِنْدِنَا. When the truth came to them, they said that this is clear sorcery, this is clear magic. قَالَ مُوسَى أَتَقُولُونَ لِلْحَقِّ لَمَّا جَاءَكُمْ أَسِحْرٌ هَذَا. Musa alayhi salam said that, are you saying when I dropped that staff in front of you and Fir'aun and all of your people, you're saying that this was magic? أَسِحْرٌ هَذَا. You're saying this is magic? وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُونَ. Those who are magicians will not be successful. Those who are magicians will not be successful. Now this is ayah number 77, surah number 10. Ayah 77, surah 10. Now this is an important ayah. Why? Because from this ayah 76, فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ عِنْدِنَا قَالُوا إِنَّ هَذَا لَسَاحِرٌ مُبِينٌ قَالَ مُوسَى أَتَقُولُونَ لِلْحَقِّ لَمَّا جَاءَكُمْ أَسِحْرٌ هَذَا وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُونَ. All the way up to the end of ayah number 81 of the same surah. It's only a few ayats. If you want to break sihr or black magic, these are the verses to read. And those who do ruqyah, those who break black magic, they read these verses. So what do the verses say? Let's look at it. It's ayah number 78. قالوا أجئتنا لتلفتنا عما وجدنا عليه آباءنا. The magicians say what? You Musa. Now this is like, you know sometimes you've got a wrestling match or a boxing match. Before you have that, before they throw what they're going to throw, there's normally a warm-up with their words. Yeah, you gonna do this, or we're gonna be you. Okay, so they're saying أجئتنا لتلفتنا عما وجدنا عليه آباءنا. You have come, Musa, to try and divert us away from what we found our forefathers, all our grandfathers, great-grandfathers were doing. You're trying to take us away from that. وَتَكُونَ لَكُمَ الْكِبْرِيَاءُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. O Musa, O Harun, you want to have the power and the reign on the earth by trying to show that you've come with the truth. وَمَا نَحْنُ لَكُمَا بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. We, the sorcerers, we, the magicians, we don't believe in what you're saying. Fir'aun said, come, magicians, get together. Ituni bikulli sahirin alim. Don't bring these magicians ahead. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ السَّحَرَةُ. When the magicians came, they said, Musa alayhi salam said, okay, you go first. You know when they asked him this question, who's going to go first? Musa alayhi salam said, okay, you go first. Now, when he said to them, you go first, they went first and they dropped. What did they drop? We're going to find out. And what they did, we're going to find out. But Musa alayhi salam said to them, when he saw what they dropped, I'm just going to say this now because you've got to understand, I can't flick 4 different parts, it's quite a lot to give you the thing, but I'm just going to drop this part now, then I can go to the other reference. When they finally dropped what they dropped, Musa alayhi salam said, what you lot have brought is sihr, it is magic. Inna Allaha sayubtiluh. Allah will destroy it. Inna Allaha la yuslihu amal al-mufsidin. Allah does not allow the actions of the corruptors to prevail. وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ. Allah with His words will establish the truth. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. Even if sinners don't like it. Now these are the actual words. If you can't read any other verses to break the sihr, these are the words. Which is فَلَمَّا أَلْقَوْا قَالَ مُوسَى مَا جِئْتُمْ بِهِ السِّحْرِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَيُبْطِلُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُصْلِحُ عَمَلَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. Ayahs number 81 and 82 of surah number 10. Ayah 81 and 82 of surah number 10. Okay. Now again, guys, I know I've said this about breaking sihr, whatever, but don't try and become some Ghostbusters, okay? Guys, don't get excited. Go and try choo, okay? If you're not experienced enough, if you haven't got the right action and the right amal, whatever, to break sihr, you better not go around and start doing hocus pocus. There's hocus pocus. When you start doing that, and the other side, the jinn side, is a bit stronger than you, then you're going to be running for your life, my friend. Yeah, you're going to be running for your life. So, and you won't know how to deal with it. So either you've got your amal, you've got your good action, and you've spoken to local imam, or you've spoken to a local raqi or someone who does ruqyah, and then they've told you that, okay, go ahead and just use this. Or you better have a backup that somebody comes and comes to your rescue, and when Mr. Genie gets out, yeah, and wants to do hocus pocus on you, yeah, you better do that. Because I don't get these people. Some of these guys, they think, oh yeah, we can do ruqyah, so we can do these wannabes. And there are cases across in London, and this is not one case, several cases, where they'll come around and they'll, there's a patient affected by sihr or affected by jinns, and they'll come and they'll read all this stuff. It's easy to read, guys. It's easy to read. That's the easy part. Containing the thing after it flares up is where we see your strength. So what happens is that sometimes there's been real cases where 1 o'clock in the night they've gone in there and they've made this thing go mad. The jinn inside the body of this person, they've made it go mad. And when it's gone crazy and it's about to just break loose and just go for them or rip their house apart, that time they say, yeah, okay, assalamu alaikum, we're leaving now. Assalamu alaikum, we need to go now, right? What do you mean you need to go now? You just flared the whole situation up. You need to control it, man. You don't come here and start doing some Ghostbuster stuff and then leaving us, to deal with it. Seriously, if you're going to do this, you go to the other end of it and you deal with it. And if you don't know how to do with it, just leave it alone and let the experts come and deal with it. Let the experts come and deal with it. And just, I'm saying this to you now. I don't want anyone to come up to me and say, yeah, Shaykh, I've got this situation. I don't deal with this. I don't deal with this. This is not my, I'm just, sometimes I talk about it, but I don't actually deal with it. So you better go and find whatever Raqi is out there to deal with it. But I'm just telling you that these are the verses, some of the strongest verses I've got in the Quran. And Quran is very strong in itself, but Quran has got specific verses to break sihr. Apart from Qul a'udhu bil falaq, Qul a'udhu bin nas and so on. And these are some of the verses that I've just told you in Surah Yunus.